100 shirts for only $395. 20 shirts for only $100.
Greenleaf Printing and Designs has stupendous signage, printed and embroidered apparel, and promotional products for you. They're at 5526 Burkhart Road in Dayton and on the web at greenleafprinting.com.
You've been living here in the Huffman Historic District for 10 years?
No, 2005.
Since 2005, okay. Your house was one of the Rehab-A-Rama projects here, and you guys purchased it. It's on East 4th Street. We've talked about a lot of different problems you've had with the house itself, and some of the work that was done at Rehab-A-Rama didn't turn out to be long-term really well done. You said, but we've got a thing up here. Lots of plumbing issues. You just showed me this thing here. That's what the camera is focused on. It is a tentative 2011 valuation from Karl Keith's auditor's office for this house at 1737 East 4th Street, going up in value, the previous value of $114,000 and $114,010, and the new value of $189,350. Like I said earlier in the video when we're looking at the screen, your evaluation of this house has gone up
over $75,000 in 2 years.
Yeah, and what are they attributing that to?
They don't give any explanation for it, and I'm not allowed to dispute it until August 1st. There's no explanation. If you look at it, it says that there are 397 properties in the area, and over 40 of them have been distressed sales, and it's crazy. The average value of houses is $45,000, and the average sale price in the past 3 years has been $55,000. So my house is almost 4 times that, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's going to cause you to have to leave this house, am I correct?
Yeah, because last time this happened, my house went from around $40,000 up to $114,000, and that caused my mortgage payment to go up $450 a month. And it just came at a really bad time, and I couldn't handle it, the extra $450 a month once I lost my job. And now to go up another $75,000, I expect it to go up another.
And you worked as an engineer?
500, yeah.
Okay, and there's a lot of problems in that field. A lot of people have been laid off, and you said you went back to school?
Yeah, I went back to school in 2009. I wanted to teach, and then when all this other stuff started happening, I thought, well, if I'm going to be broke, I might as well go for it. And because everybody kept telling me it would be a stupid career move to go from being an engineer to being a teacher, that I wouldn't be able to afford it. So now I'm happy that I'm broke. Yeah, but
at the same time,
it's crazy. Yeah, my house, my mortgage payment would go up a ridiculous amount to cover this $75,000 increase, to cover the escrow, because this is 2011, and so I'm already a year behind in those taxes.
So you think these evaluations are probably chasing a lot of people out of these neighborhoods?
Yeah, I have a lot of neighbors that aren't working anymore, or they're on. They're trying to find work, or they're on fixed incomes. A lot of people in this neighborhood are retired, and if you're on a fixed income, to have your property value jump like this, and a property you think you own, you know, to have their value jump like this, they just can't afford to do it. The neighbors that do stay, they're not neighbors that I want to live around anymore. I have a house.
You have problems with people who I've heard a lot of complaints that once you get out of the Huffman district, there's a lot of drug activity or
you don't have to get out of the Huffman district. Across
really?
the street, there's a prostitute that hangs out across the street on the porch, and she heroin track marks up and down her legs. She's well known by the Dayton police, and men will drive up and they make exchanges in the street, or they'll drive up, they pick her up, they take her over to the alley, and then they come back and drop her off. It's disgusting. I have a 14-year-old daughter living here, and I don't want her seeing that.
And you've got someone from the county also telling you your property's worth $189,000.
Yeah.
And that's just
You
are going to dispute this, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But even with that, when these things go, when the value increases on these evaluations, it in turn sets forth a whole kind of snowball with your mortgage going up, and then you don't have the money to, to pay on. I mean, how many people can just like take the mortgage and go, oh, I want another mortgage,
right.
Which is basically what they're doing.
Right. Because for $500 a month, I can do a lot with $500 a month and not have to pay all of these extra taxes.
Yeah.
But the house behind me is vacant and has been vacant off and on for the 6 years now that I've been here. The house next door to me, I only have two houses that touch my property because I'm on a corner. Because I'm on a corner, I don't have a garage, and all the other houses on the street do. And I think that's another crazy thing about this. I'm one of two houses on my block without a garage, and my house is worth more than any of theirs. It's weird. I don't even have alley access. I have to park in the street, which means my car gets broken into a lot. My car gets hit a lot, side swipe, mirrors ripped off, windows broken out a ridiculous amount of times. But the house next door to me is close enough that I could stand with both arms out and touch it. And that house, in 2008, nobody had lived there until 2008. It was all boarded up. And in the middle of the night, after those storms we had, that September, October time frame, I heard drills in the middle of the night, and the next day people had just moved into it. They had a generator for about 2 weeks, and then DP&L kicked on. I'm like, how is this happening? There are fights every night out there. And because it's an old house and our windows and things are thin, I hear everything. You're up a lot in this neighborhood. We've had 5 arsons within 2 blocks since I've lived here. Actually, just since the neighbors moved in 2008. So in 3 years, we've had 5 burned out houses due to arson. The house across the street from me is vacant, falling down, inhabited by raccoons. The house behind that one it's been for sale since I moved in 2005, but it's never been bought. And they tried to rent it at one time, but I think the renters only stayed there for about 2 months. It's I don't know. Would you pay $190,000 for this?
I might be hard pressed, especially with the having the constant situation with vandalism, prostitution. If you were the mayor of Dayton or the czar of Montgomery County with ultimate power, what would you do to change this situation? And having lived down here,
I don't know how to make people want to live in these houses anymore, because everything that we put up with, I don't know. I think it starts with the city and the police department becoming involved, because there are so many beautiful houses interspersed with crack houses just around Dayton. There are beautiful houses on Salem Avenue. But
oh yeah, they're beautiful.
You can't give away a lot of these houses. They're hard to do. They're hard to heat. They're hard to cool. And then you've got the constant vandalism and fights and problems. I don't know how to make people want to live here. I love my house and I love living here, but you can't keep raising my value when everything around me is just turning into trash. It doesn't work. I can't pay enough taxes to make up for all the other houses in the neighborhood.
Sure.
I don't know what I'd do about it, though. I don't know. It's sad. I wish other people loved downtown. I think that you've got to do something to attract those people that do love downtown. Maybe give them incentives to stay here, because for $189,000, I could get a nice house in Oakwood and have stellar schools to send my kids to.
You think a lot of people have talked about going to a form of regional government where they can really devote sources to, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're referring probably to problems with multi-generational substance abusing families.
Right.
Am I correct? With a lot of drama.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the people down on their luck. I'm talking about the generational poverty and issues that come with it down.
Yeah, and you see a lot of, having come across some of these folks, do you think, what is it that drives some of the antisocial behavior? Do you have any idea yourself, or
A lot of these houses in my neighborhood especially were so cheap in the 70s that they were bought up by a few single families and then rented out. And so the rent being collected on them made it so people didn't have to work. The house next door is like that. It's been owned by that family forever. This house was actually theirs too, and the one behind me. So they don't have to work. They steal and scrap what they steal for a living, and 4 different generations live there. So it's a lot of people live in the house, or
there are a lot of drinking going on constantly.
Yeah, they don't go anywhere without a beer. And Circle K is on the corner, so they can walk for cases of beer in the middle of the night. I hear them a lot at 3 in the morning. I can hear the front door slamming at 3 a.m. and I've gotten video cameras since February because I was having so much stuff stolen and my car vandalized so many times. So yeah, I can see them making beer runs back and forth to Circle K. But that scares me too. The guy has a truck and he doesn't get into the truck without a bottle of beer in his hand.
Yeah.
And I've never seen him arrested for a DUI. But that makes me nervous having small kids, you know.
Do you think the police are overwhelmed, or do you think they actually just kind of put up with it because it's so, the constancy of it becomes so...
Yeah, especially the prostitute across the street. They know her. They arrest her for jaywalking every once in a while. I've asked them why they don't arrest her when they know that a drug transaction has just taken place. They said it's because the house is such a mess. They said if she can run inside and drop the drugs somewhere, if they can't find the drugs, they can't do anything about it. So they said like it's a constant game with her, and they've just given up. They arrest her for things they can, like jaywalking or disorderly conduct, things like that.
What would you think about,
out of my neighborhood?
And this is pretty revolutionary, radical idea, but maybe it's not, because what would you think about them creating a section of town where loose substance abuse morality is tolerated, and everywhere else it's completely cracked down on? Like, you know, you can go over here to Malt Liquorville and do whatever you want, and run around and live in circular drama, but you don't. We're not going to make the rest of the city have to deal with that.
That would be great, and if it was cracked down on around the rest of the city, that would be excellent. Because I didn't expect this much drama when I moved downtown. I have always loved downtown. I grew up in a small town, and then moved to New Orleans. And when I came back to this area, I first lived in Westchester. And when I started looking for a house, I wanted to live in one of the historic districts. I love these houses and things, but I thought that everybody that lived here would love the character of the area, and that's what I expected, but it's not what I got. So what percentage of the people you think like the character of the area, and what percentage do you think, you know? I think about a third of us. I mean, I complain a lot about the crazies, but there are at least a third of the people that show up to the historic
like the neighborhood association meetings? Okay.
Yeah, and that they're trying to do something. I'm just in a little island by myself on this block. Other houses at the other end of the block and on other blocks, they're much better. They go around at night and they pick up garbage throughout the neighborhood. If you haven't noticed, whenever our garbage gets picked up in this neighborhood, I don't know if it's throughout Dayton, but on days that our recycling gets picked up, it generally gets dumped everywhere. I don't know why that is either, but then, like I said, our neighbors get together and pick it all up. We have a lot of alley sweeps and neighborhood potluck dinners. And
has anyone in the neighborhood, like on a collective basis, confronted any of these like problem houses, or is it?
No, everybody just kind of turns their head at the problem houses because they're gonna. What other neighbors have told me is there's nothing you can do about it. You can just keep calling. So maybe they get a nuisance abatement, but it's been 3 years now that I've been calling regularly about the drug issue or about the scrap issue, the things coming up stolen, and the fights constantly, and I've never seen anything done with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add? I mean, you're going to be moving out of this house, so the Huffman district's going to be one household less filled with a professional who has been a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen.
Yeah, that makes me sad, but
yeah.
I hope that I want to see Dayton do better. I love Dayton. I love downtown. I love the Oregon.
A lot of people
district.
love Dayton, have a lot of love for Dayton, you know. You're not the only one.